cheesy veal chop with cabbage. This is an elegant dinner for friends that you really love or people that really deserve in your life or a special occasion. So we are gonna make stuffed veal chop. Look at these beauties. Even the bees know what's good. But could you substitute? Of course. You can do chicken breast. You can do pork chops. Just be mindful of the cooking time. But you can replace a meat of your choice. What will we stuff it with? Well, some cheese that melts. And I have some piave here. Piave is a semi-soft cheese in a sense. It's actually a firm cheese, but it melts quite nicely. Just you buy a piece like this, and it's good to eat just as is, but certainly it's great for stuffing and cooking. And you just shave it like this on a box grater, just like that, as simple as that. We'll add to this some grated cheese so it doesn't stick together. So whenever you have a sort of a semi-soft cheese that will stick together, if you throw in some grated cheese, that will keep it separated and flowing. And I'm gonna put some of it aside because at the end, after I made the stuffing, the last step is top them with this cheese and put them back in the oven and have the cheese really melt and be delicious. So the stuffing, scallions, the white and the green part. Okay, I think that's good enough. I don't think it needs any salt because the cheese is very savory. I just want to mix it together, just like that. And then ultimately, I'll make it in little bundles of stuffing and put it in the veal chop. So let's work on the veal chops now. This is indeed a beautiful veal chop. Here there's a little bit too much fat. I'm going to clean a little bit of that out. This is the membrane that sort of holds everything together, so you don't want to take it all out. And I am going to just kind of saw my way through the meat. And you know, under my finger, I feel how deep I'm going. So take your time and get the feel of it, you know? Okay. And mallet. In this case, I'm going to use the flat. And you don't want to bang the heck out of it. You just want to open it up a little bit. For time's sake, I opened these up before, and I'm going to need some toothpicks because I'm going to tie it in with the toothpick. Oh my, the bees have found us. They have good taste too. So I'm making like a little, just like that, just like a little, there we go. And you close it in. 2-3 toothpicks will do, because then we'll put it in a little bit of flour, we'll fry it, and it will tighten up into position. One is done. Let's do the next one. I am sealing everything good. So, let me clean up and let's get this dish finished. Yes, I'm in Italy. I'm in Lago di Garda. But you know, wherever I am, I always check in with you and see what questions you have and what you want to know. So here I have an email from Jolene, and she's asking if there is Italian champagne. Champagne is a region in France, and that's where champagne comes from. But Italy has its own source of sparkling wine made in the Metodo Champenois. And here in Lago di Garda, they have been making for centuries. From Chardonnay, they make the regular sparkling wine, but they also make the rosé with their Pinot Noir and, of course, the natural varietals that each winemaker decides to add to this mix. And, of course, the terroir here is very much reflecting of the lake, so it's a good base to get all those good flavors. And then, of course, the passion of the winemaker and of the local producer that goes in with all their hearts in making a great wine. So, thank you for your question. And all of you out there, keep on writing and I will take you around Italy with me. Oh, ready. We are ready to go. A little bit of salt, and we begin to just flour. Now, you have to handle them gently because they have the stuffing. They're not cooked yet. Not too much flour, just a little bit. So they're lightly floured. You need a nice wide pan, and we're gonna use one pan, everything in here. We're gonna fry the chops, the oil. You want it nice and hot. So let's do it. One, let's see, I'm trying to fit them all in nicely. Two, nestle them in there. Four, let's see, no, this way. Makes more sense. And that will take some time because you want them nice and caramelized. Let's get the Savoy cabbage ready. Let's cut it in half. Core, let's get the core out. This one. Okay. And let's cut it in shreds. Just in shreds, like that. Let's loosen it up a little bit. And it looks, gee, that's a lot of cabbage. But cabbage goes down to half of its volume, even less. So let's see, it's coming along. And the chops and the whole pan is gonna go in the oven. So it's gonna finish cooking, but you wanna give that kind of seal of flavor before you move on with it. Here is one. Here is two. And here we are. So we're gonna go right and continue cooking right in here. I'll put a little bit of oil. So when you're frying those chops, you gotta be careful not to burn because you wanna continue right in this pan and cook. I'm gonna put a little bit of butter in there. Okay, just a little bit of sage. Let the flavors come out. And now we'll put the cabbage right in there. Some salt, some wine. Let's put a bit of wine. And that's gonna deglaze the bottom. A little bit of stock, chicken stock, vegetable stock, whatever you have. Just keep in mind also that the cabbage has its own water and will release some. And we're looking here for enough water for the Savoy cabbage to cook, for the veal chops to cook through and still remain with a little bit of juice at the bottom. That's where we want it. So the cabbage is wilting, and when it's halfway there, this is where you add the chops right on top of it. So let's nestle the chops right on top of the cabbage. Just like that. Let's see, maybe I'm trying to fit them in nicely, snug them in, just like that. So let's see. And this one right here. Everybody is in. And now cover it with foil paper and put it in an oven, 375 degrees. We leave it there for 20 minutes. You uncover it, add that cheese on top of it that we had sort of stashed on the side, and you put it back in the oven so it forms that nice crusty top from the cheese. And it's a delicious dish. Here is an email question from Steve. What is the difference between crostini and bruschetta? Well, Steve, crostini and bruschetta are very similar. Crostini might be a little bit more delicate. The bread used is a finer bread, maybe a baguette, whereas the bruschetta, bruscare means to grill. It's a nice slice of rustic bread, grilled, bruscato, and then topped with whatever you have. Tomato and onion, mozzarella and tomato, fig and prosciutto. So there's not a big difference. Crostini maybe a little bit more elegant, bruschetta a more really country feel. Thank you for your question, Steve. Does this look delicious or what? So let's plate. I am going to do it both ways for you so you can see. I'm gonna individually plate them, and then I'm gonna family style plate them. So, the cabbage is full of flavor of cheese, of the chop. I think that's enough for one person. And then let me take the chop and just put it like that. And you don't need to do anything. You want the crustiness on top of that chop, just like that. Maybe I have here some sage, just like that. Now let's do it family style. But you know, I am family, so I'm looking at a little piece for me. Where could I get a little piece? Oh, here, this piece. Nobody will ever miss it. And that's my little piece. Little chop for Lidia. Okay, now. One, two, and three. Okay, here we are, family style. Does this look nice? Do you want to come over? I'm inviting you. Absolutely. Let me taste this first. Okay, this, a little bit of cabbage. It is so delicious. Us Italians work with our hands. The hands say 1,000 words. Che bontà. What deliciousness. And what kind of wine would I like with this? Maybe a nice spumante rosé. And let me invite you, tutti a tavola a mangiare. I'm serious about it, in my backyard. And salute.